In today's video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on MetaZoo in 2022, what to expect for the rest of the year, and my predictions for 2023. So definitely we are in a bearish market right now. I mean, the larger economy is way down. And, stock markets, crypto, I'm not sure about real estate. I think real estate's doing pretty okay, but definitely collectibles across the board are also doing pretty poorly. And we've been tracking this in a lot of our flash update videos, some lower prices, even though there's a huge variety of products out there and there are a lot of sales. I mean, there's a lot of sales activity. It's just that a lot of prices are definitely low and getting a little bit lower as we go forward. And, I can definitely understand that some people might be speculating that like maybe MetaZoo is losing some steam or losing some of the hype from where we were a year ago. And I really don't think that's the case. I really think it's a larger sort of economic thing that's happening right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, first of all, so I was doing some research on this. I Google searched like when the Fed raised its rates, right? And I'm not an economist. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't really understand a lot of that sort of nitty gritty stuff. But I know it was in the news a lot and people were talking about how raising rates was needed to tame inflation. But also it was going to have a big impact on the economy, maybe the stock market, different kinds of investments and employment and that kind of thing. So I just did a Google search and I don't remember if it was on Investopedia or if it was some other website, but this was just really general information anyways. But what I learned from this overview was that when the Fed raises its rates, which it did, it takes about a year or so to tame inflation and bring it back down. However, with the stock market, I guess that's kind of priced in already because there's a longer history in the stock market and it sort of, I guess people have priced in already what that impact would be. So you see what I read is a really big impact on the stock market that's very sudden, but then inflation itself takes about a year to cool down. So from my guess about that, my prediction, I think that meant, I guess my interpretation is what I'm trying to say of that is that the stock market will sell off a lot, but it's not going to keep selling off at that rate. Like it'll kind of have it priced in and then it'll kind of bottom out and kind of move along different factors from there. Now, I'm not an economist. Remember, this is my pure guess speculation, but that was my thinking. So in other words, I think it's going to take about a year then for MetaZoo and the collectibles as a whole, right? So we're talking about comic books, we're talking about Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, about a year for inflation to be tamed. And I think then maybe things will be a little bit more normalized. So when you see that big drop in the stock market, in crypto, of course, you're going to see that big drop all of a sudden. That's what they were saying, right? That's a bigger impact up front with the stocks, but then inflation overall is going to take pretty much a full year. So what I'm thinking about with MetaZoo is that we're going to continue to see really low prices with MetaZoo and other collectibles across the board, but I don't think that that is really an indication of MetaZoo failing as a game. I think it presents challenges, but what I've been seeing, and I've been kind of covering this in my flash update video, right? There's a ton of sales activity and there are a lot of high prices. Yeah, the MetaZoo Revive Mothman, that skateboard promo was like $1,000 when it first hit the market, right? Then it was $800, then it was $600. But $600 is still a lot of money, especially right now, right? So you're seeing these dips, but I don't think it's because people are leaving MetaZoo. And maybe some people are because they need to use that money for other things, but I don't think they're saying they don't like MetaZoo. I think they're just kind of trying to prioritize. So I think we're going to kind of see that bearishness for the rest of the year would be my guess. Again, just my pure speculation, right? You can't predict markets and maybe things are just different in the world than they were before. And the stock market and inflation does recover sooner than that or goes down even further. Maybe there's something we haven't anticipated or something I'm not thinking about in my analysis, right? So I think overall, MetaZoo is doing very well when you look at all of the collaborations that it keeps doing, that keeps selling out. When you see the consistent sales activity, the volume of sales, these still strong prices, even though a lot of prices are going down, I think you have to really take a balanced look, right? And say, yes, here's what's going on with MetaZoo, but look at it within the wider context, collectibles as a whole. Go watch Rudy from Alpha Investments and all his videos about how Magic the Gathering cards are going way down right now too. And that's a result of the larger economy, stocks, crypto, the war going on, the ongoing pandemic, inflation, political unrest, all of this stuff, right? So when you think about it in that context, and MetaZoo cards are still selling and they're still doing it at really good prices, I mean, it makes me feel very bullish about, well, what happens if some of these problems go away, they get solved, the economy begins to recover? What kind of effect is that going to have on MetaZoo? What kind of momentum is that going to bring back as well? Okay, so some things that I've been looking at that are both positive and negative. We already covered some of the positive side: strong sales, high volume of sales. I think some of bearish factors, some things that we should be wary of. I think booster box supply. So I think the Wilderness 100,000 boxes showed that it was a little bit of a high supply, at least for this a moment in this economy, right? And we know UFO is going to be 100,000 boxes. Now, I think it's good that they did not decrease the print run from UFO, honestly, because if you do that, I think that sends a message that they're admitting that Wilderness was too much and they needed to taper it back. I think it was wise of them not to increase it to say 125,000 or more, right? So they decided, we're not going to take it down because that's going to look pretty bad, but we're going to keep it 100,000. We're not going to increase it anymore. Now, I don't think that is going to be scarce enough to really drive prices up. I think that when UFO comes out, you're going to have some time, just like you had time with Wilderness. We saw those price drops. We're still seeing price drops. I think there's a lot of hype with UFO. I think UFO is going to do really well. I'm honestly more excited about UFO than I was with Wilderness. I am going to be getting booster boxes. I'm going to wait a little bit for prices. I think they're going to dip a little bit after the release. And also, Wilderness took forever to get there. MetaZoo took forever to get their Wilderness binder out. And I don't want to, when I buy the booster boxes, I want to open them. I want to put them in my Wilderness binder, my MetaZoo binder. I don't want to put it in a different binder and have to transfer them over. And I don't want to get the boxes and not get to open them. So I will wait till the UFO binder hits the MetaZoo marketplace. I will buy that. Once I have it in hand, I'm going to order my UFO boxes. Or I might do it all at once, and that way I'll have my binder and the boxes around the same time. I can put them in there because I do like to keep my set in the binders. But anyways, so we do have a lot of supply. However, I don't think it's really too much. I mean, you are seeing kind of it bottom out a little bit and go sideways. It's not, falling down to, $20 a box, right? Or anything crazy like that. And you have to also remember, MetaZoo is expanding its audience. When they have people come in, they don't want people coming in and not be able to find any product, right? Or they don't want it to be too expensive. If I'm just now entering MetaZoo today, I can say, okay, what's the latest set? Wilderness. What's the price at? $80? Oh, cool. Let me grab a box or two and open that up, right? That makes it accessible. And I think that's a good thing. The first edition boxes will be special. Are special. They will be even more special when supply runs dry, but that doesn't need to happen overnight, right? Look how long it took for Magic the Gathering. It's been it takes 20 years or something for these things to appreciate. Of course, in today's world, we expect it to go up overnight, right? And I don't think that's really reasonable. You need to give MetaZoo a chance to expand its audience, and they want to have product available for people coming in and entering the game, right? So maybe MSRP is a little bit too high. Maybe prices don't need to be $140 a box, but I don't know that they're really going to drop, too low. Yeah, I think they're going to be under MSRP for a while. That's just the way it is. But MetaZoo has accessible product, and that's good. That's going to bring more people into the game, and that's going to be good for the game overall. So I think 100,000 boxes, yeah, I think it's fine for MetaZoo to have an expanding audience. And once there's an economic uptick, maybe there's an exponential gain in momentum, and then those boxes dry up a lot faster, right? You got to keep things in context of what's happening in the economy right now. If you look at Nightfall boxes being only at 50,000 box supply, those are above MSRP, and they're dipping down a little bit, but there's also tremendous downturn in the economy right now as well. But they are kind of finding some security around that $150 range, which is above MSRP. And it's not going to take a lot to get those boxes to move because the supply is so much shorter compared to Wilderness and UFO, right? So my prediction for 2022, just given what I've looked at, and this is just my guess and speculation, remember you can't predict these markets. I think that my thinking that is pushing how I buy and sell things right now is that the rest of 2022 at least for the duration of the summer. And then I think, if there's improvement, maybe it'll be in fall or end of the year. But I think for most of 2022, if not all of it, we're going to see this continued downward trend. If it's going to take a year after Feds raise their rates for inflation to go away, that means we're still going to have a weak economy. Who knows what's going to be happening with the stock market? Maybe it bottomed out. I saw some news stories about how some analysts are saying that it has bottomed out maybe. And I could think about that. It took 4 years for the Great Recession to change, but things move quicker now. Remember, the speed of information, technology is more advanced. I think maybe the speed of information is such that maybe things move and correct and bottom out and go back up again a lot faster than they used to. Maybe, right? That's my guess. So, but I'm going to be conservative and say it's going to be pretty bearish for the rest of the year. So I think you've got time. I don't think you need to buy things at release. I think you can wait for dips. I don't think you need to FOMO and get things. I mean, I'm looking at stuff on eBay and there's like very few of them listed and they're just not moving and prices are lowering. And I think you're just going to have time to get stuff, get yourself secure, do some financially secure, stable, work on yourself, do some research, really think about what you want to go after and make some deals. Okay. Short aside, I recently bought a Ghost in the Shell #1 CGC 9.8 comic book, which the most recent sale in somewhere I think like in April was $450 in auction. And I said, you know what? I think I've got time on this stuff. This market's weak. I'm just going to make an offer on this one listing for $325. And the seller accepted, right? They sent out an offer to me at like $420 or something like that. And I sent back an offer of $325. And I said, if they don't take it, if they think it's a lowball offer, I'm just going to wait on this because I think I have time, based on my analysis of the overall economic conditions. And they accepted, right? And I was thinking, well, maybe I should have gone $299 or something like that, right? You don't want to go too low because you might offend the seller. But what I'm saying right now is you have some potential right now to make some deals on different items in the market because people might need cash. They might want to move something. It might have been sitting for a long time. If you're looking at an item and the seller keeps lowering the price and it's not moving and they've got you can make an offer on it. Send out this might be a time to try to get some deals on different items if you are able to do that. Okay. So I think that includes a lot of MetaZoo products. I think you should look for auctions. A lot of times you can get lower prices in auctions. And I'm thinking that in 2023, that's going to be about a year out from where Feds raise their rates. And maybe the economy will start to improve. And once it does start to do that, I think maybe it has more momentum than it has before. Remember, things move more quickly these days than they used to. And I think maybe we're looking at another bull market in 2023. I'm not a financial advisor. This is my pure speculation, but I am laying out for you my thinking, my analysis, and what factors I am looking at. And I think that MetaZoo is going to continue to just manage the way it's doing throughout this year. Booster boxes will be low. There will be collaborations that sell out. There will be continued talk and a discourse and hype around MetaZoo overall, even if prices are lower as a result of a larger economy. In 2023, we see upward movement. I think across the board, I think people, if they can hold tight this year, there will be rewarded. Again, I'm just completely guessing, right? This is my speculation. So that is my prediction for MetaZoo, and it is aligned with sort of my thinking about the economy and markets overall. So get out there and make some deals. So I want to hear from you. What are you going to be doing this year? Are you going to be looking for some deals on products? Are you kind of taking it easy right now and cooling off and seeing what happens with the economy and the markets overall? Are you going hog wild? Are you going in and buying as much as you can right now? Are you very bullish about the future? When do you think things are going to start to move up? And by the way, if you're interested in what some MetaZoo prices look like on eBay right now, you can check out my market update video. I do a flash series where I go over some recent MetaZoo sales. You can check that out in this video right over here and get a kind of a glimpse of the market. Make sure you like and subscribe. Join our fellowship of collectors. Join in the discussion, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.